Okay, sorry to take so long to get another video up. Really has been, the last 3 weeks have been pretty arduous. But anyway, as you can see, I did get the conversion completely done, or well, done enough to run prints and do some testing. Anyway, let me get a little closer. Again, as always, sorry for the cramped quarters and quality of the video. All right, these are some prints that I've done. You'll have to pardon the seam. I kept leaving the seam set at back, so the seam is showing up in all of these. These are all printed with PLA Plus, not my favorite material, but it's the material that I have on hand. Still having some struggles with the build plate being flat and not textured. I'm not used to that, and I live in a rather dusty environment. This has only been sitting here since yesterday. That's where all the dust comes from. But the print quality, these are all 0.2 layer height. Standard print settings. I think for speed I was running at about 150 millimeters per second. And they come out pretty good, except again the seam being not on a corner. But the print quality, the layering is very good. Not a lot of stringing, even with this stringy prone filament. But they came out very well. Now I do have these three. Now these three Cali Cats are from left to right. The one here on the left was printed on my Ender 3 Max with all of the upgrades that I had previously installed. And now this, the original Ender 3 Max, uses 16 steps per step as the resolution. Okay, and that's where you can see the layer lines, especially if you get it at an angle and a bad light. But all in all, you know, very good prints and a very respectable speed. This is one of the first prints I did, and this is just standard PLA. And you can see there's some artifact around the eyes and a little down low, and I was thinking, well, okay, I haven't done all the tuning. So I did the acceleration tuning, pressure advance, and still continued to have those problems. But when I printed a different model, I didn't have those problems. And same thing with this, the boron cube. It came out very nice, but I didn't get those kind of artifacts, so I eventually tried a different slicer. This is done the Switchwire upgrade. This is done in that, that was done using a super slicer. This was done using Cura 5.0, and this is one of the best prints I have ever seen off of this machine. Now there are some artifacts, you can see the resonance there, but so far as resolution, you can see there's no layer lines. You can't see the layer lines. It's an incredibly smooth surface print, no artifacts around the whiskers or the eyes, and just an incredibly good print. So, and that I really credit that to the upgraded motors. These are the original Ender Max motors, which are 16 steps, or 16 micro steps per step. These are the Voron motors. This is LDO kit Voron motors, NEMA 17s, but these are 32 micro steps per step. And I think that's the biggest reason for the difference in resolution. Now, getting the prints, full disclosure, this is the torture toaster, and again, I had problems with the first layer, too much squish, and when I first tried to do the toast to get it up and down, just trying to do the handle, broke the handle off. The sides do very well and open up like they're supposed to on both sides, and that was easy enough to do. The overhangs, all that worked out very well, but where it really got jammed up was anything that was hanging on down here at the bottom. It was just too much together. Like the toast, I had to break those out from the bottom. But eventually that all came loose, and everything works. As far as the lever lines on the side, the number 5 worked, the number 3 worked, the number 2 worked with a little assistance, and that cracked loose, and getting the number 2 loose, it broke the rest of them, but it with just a little effort it would have come loose. So, you know, not too bad, but that was my first time trying to print that torture toaster, and it's that's a long print. It was a 15-hour print, or well, 14 hours and something. But anyway, what's my takeaway on doing the upgrade? If you've got you know, you're looking at like 300 plus. The motor kit's like 70 some dollars. That'll get you all three, the AB motor, the Y-axis motor, and a extruder motor, pancake style. Cost of filament for the ABS and being able to print ABS. That's another thing that you have to do. I did buy some 2020 extrusion and the linear rails, and all told I'm in about 300 bucks. I also went with a different display. The original display, I could get it to work partially but not entirely, and of course a new motherboard, or main board. The Ender 4.2.2 board that was in my original Ender 3 Max is an absolute no-go. I could not get it to work in this core style configuration. It just kept crashing the head when I tried doing any kind of an X or Z movement. It would just move straight up and down for the most part. But as soon as I swapped out, that 422 board worked fine. The board I did use is the SKR 1.3 Turbo. I am going to swap that out for an SKR Mini E3 version 2 or version 3. I think I've got a version 3 around here somewhere. And that's simply because it's just a better fit for the original Ender 3 Max housing for the main board. The SKR 1.3 Turbo is a physically bigger board, has more width to it as well as length and height. But the big downside to going with this 2020 extrusion, one, it's offset on the board. I'm not going to keep this. I'm going to go ahead and reinstall the original center extrusion, I will use the LDO motor, and I'm going to go with a double rail setup with two carriages to support the bed. Doing the acceleration testing on this, and with Clipper you do that with a literal accelerometer attached to the x-axis and again to the y-axis, running special software for the purpose through the Raspberry Pi. For the x-axis, I had stable max acceleration right at 5,000 millimeters per second. The y-axis, however, was limited to 1,700 millimeters per second, which, being the lowest value, is the overall limiting, max acceleration that I can set for this printer. I think using the larger center extrusion with more support for the bed, I should be able to get that up around 3,000 millimeters per second. But anyway, that's where we stand. For me, it's worthwhile. Doing it otherwise, you're not really going to be able to easily enclose it. I think you'd be better off doing a Switchwire conversion with some type of stock Ender 3, Ender 3V2, some type of Ender where the gantry extrusions, the uprights, are mounted on the lower base extrusions instead of being outboard like they are on the Ender 3 Max. Thanks for everybody's interest in watching, and I'll put another video up once I get the center extrusion put back together and set up, and give you an update on how all that goes. But otherwise, I like the ability of the printer as it is. It definitely improved the quality. However, you could probably get a similar quality upgrade by just upgrading the motors to slightly bigger motors with more torque, and of course 32 micro steps as opposed to 16, and going to Clipper. But anyway, have a great day everybody, and thanks for looking in. Bye for now.